Beautiful, beautiful to be together with you all. So starting with a question that's come in advance from our online internet through audience, and then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here might have. Are spiritual people supposed to be serious or carefree? How does one know if one is growing spiritually? And this is asked by Rocky B. Are spiritual people supposed to be serious or carefree? And how does one know if you are growing spiritually? So it's not a matter of all serious or all carefree. They are very serious, spiritual people, are very serious about their spiritual practice. They're very serious about doing what they need to do to stay anchored, grounded, committed. They're very serious about fulfilling their dharma. You know that story I share in here all the time that I love about the saint and the scorpion. The saint is trying to save the scorpion that's drowning. Every time the saint picks it up, the scorpion stings it. Saint flings his hand, the scorpion falls and starts to drown. The saint picks it up again. And eventually an onlooker says, let it go, let it drown, like it's just going to keep stinging you. And the saint says, the scorpion is stinging me because that is his dharma. I am saving him because that's my dharma. So he's very serious about his dharma, not carefree at all. Otherwise we'd say, yeah, you're right, let it drown, who cares? So spiritual people are very serious about their practice, their dharma. They're not going to give in on, to temptation or ego or nonsense. It's not that spiritual people aren't human, but it means that there's a very serious effort, attention, intention to stay grounded, anchored. Because I'll tell you one thing, if you're not serious about your spiritual practice, unless you are a living master, unless you are someone who has come onto earth enlightened to just help the rest of us along, any other situation than that, if you're not serious about your spiritual practice, it's going to be really hard to grow on it. Because there's so much temptation, obstacles. Living in a society, living in a world where we're constantly coming up against other people's egos and karmic packages. We're constantly being bombarded with images and advertisements and marketing to make us angry and greedy and lustful and hate ourselves and all of these things. So if you're not serious about your path, you're going to get swept away. But they're also, spiritual people, are also very carefree about the little things that a lot of other people are serious about. Most people are very serious about what other people are saying about them, what the weather's going to be like, what the stock market's doing, what the fashion is like, who's talking to who's saying what, who's climbing higher than whom on a career ladder or social ladder. Spiritual people are very carefree about that. They also tend to be very carefree about both the ups and the downs of life, the gains and the losses, because they know this is all happening in the outer world. There will be gains, there will be losses. It's like that man, great story actually, of a man a villager, who one day his horse goes missing. Has one horse goes missing. Everybody says, oh, very bad luck, very bad luck. He says, let's see. The horse comes back a few days later with another horse. Had met a soulmate. The horse brings back another horse. So then the villagers say, oh, wow, what great luck. 2 horses now instead of 1. He says, let's see. One day his son is riding the horse, falls off the horse, breaks his leg. Everybody says, oh, very bad luck, bad luck. The man says, let's see. A few days later, the government officials come through to draft all of the young men into the war that's being fought with the neighboring kingdom. His son, of course, is laid up in bed with a cast on his leg. They can't draft him into the war. Everybody says, oh, very good luck, very good luck. So, point being, spiritual people tend to be like that. You know, life up and down, gains and losses. You only can tell what the full picture is when you stand far enough away from it to be able to see the full tapestry. So serious about their practice and very carefree about the ups and downs, the gains, the losses, the successes, the failures, the nitty-gritty stuff that makes up the vast majority of what most of us think about, worry about, talk about. So they're both. Good. Other questions? Yes.
Namaskar. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. So, yesterday we were talking about knowledge, consciousness, and wisdom. And we have seen that knowledge is something which is very universal these days through social media and other platforms. However, wisdom seems to be missing. And however, when we are in our spiritual path, it appears that our wisdom is increasing. So I just wanted to know, with your practical knowledge, like what are the indications do you see when your wisdom, your consciousness increases, or does it give you some indication from inner side? How does it actually happen?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. So there's a lot of indications when we're growing in wisdom. And you say growing in consciousness. So consciousness doesn't grow or shrink. When we speak about that actual presence of consciousness, what grows and shrinks is our anchoring in consciousness, our connection to consciousness, our ability to be aware that we are conscious, our ability to recognize our consciousness. Our consciousness is there whether we're paying attention or not. In deep sleep, consciousness is there. We are not aware of it. Right? When our minds get hijacked by stress, by anger, by lust, by greed, by gossip, by stories we're telling ourselves, dramas we're in the midst of, when we lose that anchoring in consciousness, it's still there, it hasn't gone anywhere. Our mind has gone somewhere. Our attention has gone somewhere. Our focus and awareness has gone somewhere. So I mention that just because when we talk about expanding our consciousness, what it really means to me, and don't get hung up on the semantic definitions, but what it really means to me is that we are expanding our ability to access consciousness. Consciousness itself isn't expanding. It's infinite. Consciousness, existence, truth, bliss, the Sat Chit Anand, right? That's the nature of it all. It's infinite. Infinite existence or truth, infinite consciousness, infinite bliss. But we are not conscious of consciousness. We're not plugged in, connected. So, ways to know when you're expanding in your wisdom and expanding in your ability to access and connect to consciousness. Inner signs? Absolutely. What you notice is you get annoyed on a deep level a lot less. It takes a lot more to really unsettle you on the inside. Because you're anchored, you're grounded, you know. Consciousness. I am the field in which this is all playing. I'm not the play. And I'm certainly not one random tiny little role in the play. I am the field in which it is all happening. Like when you dream. And there's so many people in your dream and so many things happen in your dream. So many objects, so many characters. But when you wake up, you realize, oh my God, it all happened in my mind. So, you are not the dream. You're certainly not one random character in the dream, including your own character in the dream. All of it, your character, every character, the interactions between them, the joys, the fights, it all happened. It was a play of your mind. Nothing was there but your mind. So, when we anchor more and more in consciousness, we become more and more aware. This is all just a play. I am the field in which it is happening. I am the screen upon which various movies are being projected. I am not the movie. And I'm certainly not a random part in the movie. So as we get more and more anchored, we get less and less perturbed, less and less affected. That's the vairagya that people talk about. That's the real vairagya, the detachment. It's a detachment from our mind getting stuck in he said, she said, he did, she did, he has, she has. It's a detachment from the drama, the ups and downs. So you notice it. You also notice that as you move through the world, you don't see people as objects. You see them as spirit, as soul, as consciousness, as you see yourself. When we live in the unwise way, we see ourselves and others as objects. We're fighting for a parking spot, fighting for a job, fighting for resources, fighting for power. As we expand and grow, we realize we're not even separate. Forget being enemies, we're not even separate. So how we move through the world changes. You start seeing people, not based on the color of their skin or their gender or their words or actions or anything. You start seeing them as soul, as spirit. the wiser you become, the wiser your actions become, your choices become. There's many, many, many beautiful verses in the Bhagavad Gita. If you want to look at that, it's many verses in which Bhagavan Krishna speaks about, here's how to know, because Arjun asks him this. How do you know? Who's a wise one? What does it look like in action? Okay, you've told me about what wisdom is, but when it's embodied, what does it look like? And Bhagavan Krishna gives him these beautiful lists. What does wisdom look like? What the wise one is, what the yogi is, what the lover of God, the bhakt is. And all of them are rooted and anchored in things like compassionate to all, giving to all, aware that we are not separate, aware that we are one, anchored in their dharma, doing it without being distracted, not thrown around by the waves of life, not intoxicated or drawn to possessions or power or money. So these are the ways of knowing. And you'll feel it. You've got an intuition, you've got an inner GPS, as Pujya Swamiji always says. It'll tell you. We know. We know when we're totally off track, and we know when everything is really in alignment. So you'll know. And if you're off track and out of alignment, don't worry. Just come back. Just come back. Just get back in alignment. Beautiful. Any other questions? Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Pranam Sadhviji. I'm Ritesh Gupta from Delhi. My question is only simple question that in our day-to-day life, how to maintain the positivity? Because everywhere when we are
I'm so sorry. Can you say that one more time?
positivity, how to maintain the positivity in our day-to-day work culture? Because lots of negativity is surrounding in our day-to-day environment.
Yes.
So my simple question, how to maintain on a positivity every time so that the negativity will cannot be impact on us. Thank you.
Beautiful. So how do we maintain our positivity in a world and workplaces that are so negative? This is what we speak about as spiritual immunity. There's negativity, there's competition, there's ignorance, there's ego, there's greed, there's so much. So when COVID was happening, we all learned really good techniques of how to maintain our physical immunity. What were the main ones? 3 main ones. Social distancing, wear a mask, wash your hands. Right? There were other little things, but the main 3, social distancing, mask, hand washing. The exact same 3 rules apply for spiritual immunity. Number 1, distance. Ideally, if you can be physically far away from them, that's the best. Because we're energetic beings, and we do pick up, even if we're trying to ignore it, we do pick up the energy around us. So, can you move your cubicle? Is it possible to be in a different cubicle than next to the person who's so negative? Is it possible to work from home a few extra days a week? And if not, then you have to just work on maintaining an energetic distance. And that's something that we work on spiritually, energetically, of really just knowing, look, we're energetic transmitters and we are energetic receivers, both. Both of them are happening all the time. But there are times and places when we very consciously can focus on receiving more. You're sitting in the arti. You're hugging a loved one. You're meditating. You're listening to beautiful chanting or music. Just turn on the receiver. Like, just receive, fill up. You're in a crowded subway. You're in a board meeting getting yelled at. You're around negative people. Just very consciously transmit more, receive less. Just flip the switch. Try to turn off that receiver and on the transmitter. Then this issue of a mask. Now obviously we're not going to wear a physical mask. But I speak a lot about a spiritual wetsuit, which basically means when you're going to go into a situation like that, you zip it up. And then you fill it with your own positive energy. That's how a wetsuit works. Your body heat warms the water inside it that keeps you warm in the cold ocean. So you literally, like we used to wear masks before we went out, wear your spiritual wetsuit. Put it on, visualize it. Fill it with your positive spiritual energy. And then you can go anywhere and not have that energy impact you. Wash your hands. Literally. On an energetic level, flowing water is a fantastic energetic cleanser. You may have noticed a lot of people have like kind of home decorated statues, things that have water flowing on them, little fountains. Feng Shui talks about it a lot. Vastu talks about it a lot. Flowing water. Literally, put your hands in flowing water, cold if possible. And then also wash them energetically, spiritually. Because it's not just your hands, it's your whole energetic being. So go and meditate. Do some pranayama. Do some japa. Do things that literally clean your energetic body. And lastly, make sure, again, just like COVID, that you're boosting your spiritual immunity, right? We all were taking so much vitamin C and ashwagandha and turmeric and all of these things because we knew it's going to keep us healthy. In the same way, if you know that every day you're going into a situation like this, which so many of us are, it's kind of the situation in Kali Yuga. That's where your spiritual practice is so important. It builds that immunity. Your meditation, your japa, your prayers, your seva, your yoga. So build that. Beautiful. We'll take your question to start tomorrow. I have something I have to be at online in just a few moments, so I'll have to end here for now until tomorrow. But so much love to you all, and I hope you have a beautiful, 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 beautiful rest of your evenings.